Welcome to Love Where You Live, a podcast where we have conversations about how awesome it is to live in Boulder County. I'm Michael Lovato, and I'm here for another wonderful episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see I'm super excited to have two people next to me. On one side is my beautiful bride, Amanda Lovato. She's the co-host today, and she's here to help share the stories. And then on the other side of me, very, very awesome to say that we have Melody Fairchild. If you're watching, you see her. If you're listening alone, you'll hear the name, and we're going to give you a little intro. But first and foremost, Amanda, thank you for coming back. Melody, thank you guys both for being here.
Thanks for having us, Michael.
You bet. It's an honor.
It's an honor. And to do the introduction, I'm going to hand the mic. She's got one, as you can see, but I'm going to hand the mic, pass the mic, figuratively speaking, to Amanda to introduce our guest.
Well, Melody Fairchild, the first time I had ever heard of Melody Fairchild, I think I was a junior or a senior in high school, and she was gracing the covers of Runner's World magazine. And I've never told you this before, Melody, but my sister and I, we would read through it and we were like, oh my gosh, this girl is our age and look what she's doing. She is so fast. She's running 16 and a half minutes for a 5K. Oh my gosh, she's incredible. And we would just read these magazines slowly and, you know, just go through everything of what you were doing with your training because we wanted to be just like you. We would cut the pictures out, put them on our walls. We were enamored with you. And then last year, Michael did the Old Man Winter race. My sister did the Old Man Winter race, and you were directing traffic. And you said, hey, Amanda, come park over here behind my house. And I said, okay. And I went over there, and my sister looks at me, and she said, oh, my God, is that Melody Fairchild? You've got to be kidding me. Oh, my goodness, the girl that used to be on the Runner World magazines when we were in high school. And I said, that is her. And she said, okay, I'm good. I don't need to do anything else today. I've met Melody Fairchild.
I'm laughing because you had to have seen me out there banging a drum to encourage all the runners through, right? So, yeah, from the cover of Runner's World to directing traffic. That's about and keeping time for the runners with my hand drum. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we knew who you were, who you are, and we feel so grateful to be a part of your community, your running community with our children.
Mm. Well,
No, go ahead.
I am equally honored to have your children and the children of many families in Boulder in my running club. I count my blessings around that every single day. I'm living my dream. I used to, when you and your sister cut those articles out and put them on your wall about me, I would be surrounded by people with microphones when I finished races. And I got to say that experience is bewildering as a 14-year-old,
Sure.
15-year-old. And I used to stand back when I was literally surrounded. I couldn't get out of the circle of people I was around that were surrounding me. And I would say a little prayer. I would go, Lord, help me make this something greater than, because it cannot be just about me. I really did. And I think about that a lot right now. Like,
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's incredible. To be so young and insightful.
well, yeah, I have my mom to thank for giving me a deep, faith life and spiritual life. But I always went there. I had dreams. I wanted to run in college. I wanted to be an Olympian. But I knew that this had to be about more than myself. And I knew that, but I honestly couldn't have scripted where I am now back then. I let myself wander. I've lived like a gypsy for a number of years, and the Boulder, like for many people, we talk about Niwat's curse. I had to come back. So.
That's right.
I'm going to take a second here because it's brilliant. And I think I'm so excited where we've already gone, but I want to bring some other of our listeners up to speed and just say what is going on here. Amanda grew up on the East Coast. Melody Fairchild here grew up in Boulder, right where we are, went to Boulder High School, went to Platt Junior High School. She is a Boulder original. So it's not when did you come here? She's been here. When did she leave, perhaps? When did she come back? We'll come to that. But I want to just quickly say, she, from my research anyway, you started kind of running as a youngster in the mountains here, 10 years old. You're running hilly 5-milers, timing yourself, kind of just for the joy of running, loving it, realizing you're good. You'll get to correct me where I'm wrong. And then you came in to competitive life and you did incredibly well. This is where you were featured, where people on the East Coast who were runners saw you as well. The whole world saw you. And some of these stats, to those that don't know, she's the 3-time Boulder champion, which is cool because we all know Boulder. But in addition to that, she was dubbed by many as the best American high school runner of all time. And this is something that happened a few years ago when she was in high school. Also, the 3rd place at the junior cross country world championships. As a young girl, she took 3rd place. There are other stats, but the records that she holds, like Amanda said, course records that are in place today, if you can do the math, maybe a few decades ago, 32 years ago, she's holding course records with, I believe, a 16:39 5K at the the Foot Locker, used to be Kinney cross country championship. So a truly exceptional running past, went to University of Oregon. And then we're going to come all to this, but I want to explain that's not why we brought her on. We brought her on because she is a community person and she's this amazing Boulder person. So I just had to interject that. And did I miss a few things or did I get anything incorrectly?
No, that sounds good for now.
Okay, good for now. Good. Well, I like to have done a little bit of, Amanda did some fact checking as well. But I guess the first thing I'll just ask you, and then we're going to go through a few stories. Amanda shared her first memory of you, but tell us a little bit about growing up in Boulder. I mean, just like what was that like?
Well, for starters, it's so cool. We're right here at the mouth of Boulder Canyon. I mean, driving west on Canyon Boulevard, I'll never get tired of it. It's where I went every day to go home. I grew up in 4 Mile Canyon, and it's my favorite place to this day. I just took a group of kids from Boulder Mountain Warriors who are going to go to Steens Mountain Running Camp this summer up there on Sunday. And growing up in Boulder, it's just an incredible place to grow up as a child. It was a place where I feel like everything was possible. And the standards for excellence were really high on all levels. And I know I am very fortunate to have grown up here. I grew up playing fast pitch softball on the Comets in Boulder Valley Girls Softball Association, playing basketball. And like you said, I discovered running on my own in the canyon. And my genesis story around running is that I announced to my family I'm going to run to the house behind the rock. And in my mind, as a 3rd grader, that was really far away. And I left and I was back in about a minute because it was only about 200 yards away. But I put a line in the dirt in the canyon, like on the road. And I said, I'm going to go one step further every time I go. And every time I went, I'd add more than one step. And I was soon bridging 4 Mile and Sunshine Canyons over Poor Man Road and running up Poor Man Road and back to our home 1 mile up the canyon was the way I cut my teeth as a runner. And I just got really into that. And that's how it was about a 5-mile run. And Boulder, yeah. I've also told the story many times that I'd come down to Boulder to do other things. And around Boulder time especially, I'd see all these elite runners, Rosa Moda, Ingrid Christensen, Rob DiCastella, Arturo Barrios, Frank Shorter, Lorraine Moeller running the streets of Boulder. And it fascinated me. And I begged my mother to take me to the Boulder when I was in 3rd grade.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's incredible.
yeah, some of that I didn't know, and I just want to share again with people that have been in Boulder or that live in Boulder. Poor man, it's a wonderful and very difficult climb both directions. So it links Sunshine Canyon, as she said, to 4 Mile Canyon, two roads that leave Boulder. But it's a run that you do to get the hill, both ways, a very difficult hill. And I think those of you that live here know just what I'm talking about. And if not, write that one down. It ranks up there, I think, with the likes of a Magnolia or a Switzerland Trail. Poor man. So sharing that, you started out with a bunch of sports. You really gravitated to running, and I guess when did you sort of say, you know what, it's not just about me timing myself over poor man, and it's just not about running to the big rock. And when did you start to realize, wait a second, I'm better than some of these other girls and boys that I'm racing against?
Well, with the absence of any program like I currently have, it was really the Boulder. I would win my age group, and I knew that if I won my age group, I would get this little keychain in the mail. And I'm eternally grateful to Boulder, to the Bosleys, and all the people that have fed the dream of the world's greatest 10K. Because it has molded the dreams of a lot of kids, young kids that have come through Boulder Mountain Warriors, and mine included. And so that was my best, litmus test to know where I stacked up. And then, I'd keep on playing softball all summer, but I knew that as a ninth grader at Boulder High that I wanted to make varsity. That was my big goal. And then I got there, and I not only made varsity, but my coach at the time, he thankfully was on top of what other opportunities were out there. And at the time, unlike now where there's so many, you can't keep them all straight, there was one national championship, and it was Kinney, which you said earlier, it became Foot Locker. It's already changed again. It's now called Champ Sports Cross Country Championship. And so I went to regionals and I went to nationals, and I ended up second. And then things really started to pick up. But I truly didn't know about outside competition outside of Boulder until I got to high school.
And did your coach see you and recognize, oh, wow, this young lady has some talent?
Yes, I can still remember the day he came to a middle school track meet out at Platt and saw me run the mile, and I ran 5:25.
Oh my gosh.
And
how old were you?
13? I guess I was 13.
12 or 13.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And then he was sort of like, saying some encouraging words, and then it definitely was helpful, for him to know what else was out there when I got to high school. And I remember that now, as doing, even though I'm in youth running, I like to plant seeds for the kids because there's so many opportunities out there that if they realize they could dream about that now in middle school, that in high school they could keep that in their minds.
It's brilliant. I'll ask because I think it's an important time to sort of segue to this. Boulder Mountain Warriors, you referenced it. You talked about it early where you felt like, hey, something needs to come of this. Tell us a little bit about when, why, and how you started Boulder Mountain Warriors. What is it?
Boulder Mountain Warriors is a youth running club. We are a USATF club, and it's for kids ages 7 to 14, boys and girls. And we do cross country, and we do indoor track and outdoor track. Cross country is our huge season. That's the one I have to, it's no secret. Like, I love cross country, and it's a huge effort because it's about the team, and it's not, there's no black and white about that. And if we can work on that team aspect, that's what I love. But Boulder Mountain Warriors really came out of my original desire to start a girls running camp when I came back to Boulder in 2007. I was living in Eugene, Oregon, kind of wondering, am I going to make Oregon home? And I was studying a body work modality called the Feldenkrais method, and I was living in Eugene and putting all my energy into that, studying that body of work, and then working at a running store. And when people would come in that I had known in college and said what they were up to, and I was noticing I felt a little like bitter inside, like I'm not really living in my integrity. I'm not doing what I really want to do. And I said, you don't want to live with that feeling. You got to do something about that. So I decided to start a girls running camp in Colorado. So I moved back home and I did it up in Gold Hill at the Colorado Mountain Ranch where I had worked during college. And I kept doing that for 13 years, but since I was back in Boulder working with kids, and I decided that I would start a youth running program. And I started officially in 2013, and I had about 10 kids, and it's just grown from there.
It sure has grown. How many kids do you have now?
This winter, if you include 1 day a weekers
Yeah.
and 2 day a weekers, 73 on
That's
the
incredible.
roster.
Well
Yeah.
done, Melody.
Thank you.
I just also realized that we're breaking the rules because Zane's only 6, and they're so I think. All right, so and that's here's how we kind of cross paths with you, in this current era, is that we'd heard about the program, and when you hear Boulder Mountain Warriors, it sounds pretty awesome. Like it sounds like, hey, this is
Strong.
mountains, this is strong, this is warrior, and we knew it was we knew your name. And Amanda knew you very well, your accolades and your history. So we said, hey, let's explore this. And I think that for me, what was super cool was to then say, when I show up and I watch my kids go in there, the message that immediately comes to us is not one of, you're going to be amazing. You're going to be the best in the world. You have to compete. It's incredibly intense. It's nothing like that. It's just very welcoming. And so again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I really feel like you present a path that they can choose. You can be very serious and have fun being serious, or you can just kind of show up, but be very committed to just showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, maybe explain that better than I have, how you have a message and a mission that you share with the kids.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate you asking me because it's sort of the $64 million question I live with all the time. And I know that I'm trying something that's difficult to do because it would be really easy to turn Boulder Mountain Warriors into a uber competitive club and make it really clear when parents call me, this is for my child or it isn't. But I really want running to be something that teaches kids about themselves, teaches them in the team setting about how valuable their contribution to their team is, understanding that their effort they bring and their attitude they bring every day impacts others. These things that our values for life that I really think in general our society really needs right now. I just think there's no end to the meaning making that can come out of building this community. And I definitely cast a very large net. Like people would not want to know what goes on in my brain at 2 a.m. Because I wake up and think about all these things that I really want Boulder Mountain Warriors to be. And I do have to stay ground. Well, it does ground me that we have standards. And the truth is, I've actually, I'm glad that the vibe you get when you walk in and hang out for a while is welcoming and it's not about performance. And I have to say that I really do see that leaning more into that is actually is going to be good for our kids. And I think I do like the black and whiteness of the standards and letting kids know that, yeah, if you work hard, you can achieve this. And let them figure out if you don't, you won't. So if you
Yeah.
if you want it, when I started Boulder Mountain Warriors in 2013, I formed a parent advisory board. And this awesome parent, he had a office above the med down here on the Walnut. And I sat in this big swivel chair. They said, Melody, you take the head chair here. I'm sitting there with a huge whiteboard behind me and all these parents, and they said, what is your mission? And I didn't know what to say. I said, well, I'll get back to you in 3 weeks. And I went and ran the Grand Canyon, like end to end, with my husband, Glenn. And I thought about it on this road trip. And I just thought about where I grew up in the canyon, which we've talked about. I thought about all the experiences I had, good and bad, hard and easy, joyful and sad. And I decided that the 5 pillars of the Boulder Mountain Warriors are passion, courage, commitment, kindness, and resilience. And um, it's a mouthful, I know, but when I have a chance, I explain it to the kids. And passion is the most important one. Like if you want it. And I do hope that every kid that comes through our door will want to, while they're with us, strive to be the best they can be. I love sports for that, and I think we need it.
I agree.
Well, and one of the things that I've seen too is just the progress, the slow and deliberate progress. When our daughter started with you, in just the beginning of this winter season, she wasn't running very far, but the last time she came home, she said, Mommy, I just ran 5.5 miles nonstop. And she was so proud of herself. And we were proud of her. We were proud of the confidence that she had gained just being in that program, being in your program.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah. And I want to thank, I have 73 kids. I have 12 coaches, and Coach Corey is awesome. And she's this amazing woman who the girls fall in love with too. And she doesn't mess around. Like, she does it with love, though. She's like handing out
Yeah.
she
Candy.
treats them too.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it was so nice out last week, and we just did it, and I was so happy to see that group of kids did that. And we got the short little indoor season behind us, and so now we can sort of play with running over to the trail, and and getting a little more mileage in. I'm so glad she experienced that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's cool. It's
building
cool.
up her confidence.
And that's what I was about to say, as parents, to see the confidence grow. And I think that's something that, again, comes from sport, but it comes from well-guided sport. And so if I come back to, you sort of answered this, but really being at the top where you were, and knowing how hard it is, and knowing the competitive part of it, and the commitment, and everything, you come back, I really do feel like, is that why now you're sort of like really gradual, I would say? Like, someone says they don't want to compete, you say no problem. It's not, no, you have to compete, you're on this team, go.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, well, it's partly because I've been there, but I didn't start competing at any level until I was in 10th
Okay.
grade.
Okay.
And I did do a little bit of middle school track that lasted 4 or 5 weeks in the spring. But um, the reason that I'm so tempered with the approach right now, is because of the environment that's been created in the whole nation around youth sports. And the studies are out. It's a fact that kids, if they do multiple sports, and while they're young, until they get to high school, they're going to be more successful and healthy, mind, body, everything. And it's a very fine edge I walk with doing this competitive running club, because there is a desire for many kids to want to specialize, or their parents want them to specialize. And I can't say how important it is that kids do multiple things. And I admire the approach you both take with your kids. And we've never seen either of your kids twice a week. And
Nope.
I think it's great. And in your daughter's Valentine's story from last week is proof in the pudding, I think,
right.
because she doesn't run that much, but she's tapping into it once a week. And it's amazing what a little dose for a child will do. I think a consistent dose is important, but I think it doesn't have to be like hammering every day in anything. It should be like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing buffet, and what do I get to choose today?
Absolutely. Great analogy. Made me hungry too. Think about the dessert side of the buffet.
Always hungry.
Almost hungry. Here, this is wonderful. I love it. I could probably talk Boulder Mountain Warriors all day. I want to segue a little bit instead of that and say, okay, you mentioned it. You came back in 2007. So born and raised in Boulder, you went away. You were in a super awesome part. You were nomadic, I think you said, or gypsy-like. So when you came back, I mean, what brought you back? Was it Chief Niwot or what the opportunity, of course, to start the camp? But talk about coming back from all over the world to Boulder.
It was definite. Well, the slow, deep current is Chief Niwot for sure.
Okay.
Those mountains, I'm looking at a pretty picture of them in the studio right now. Yeah, I mean, I love Eugene, Oregon. Oregon's got my heart in a big way, but I was always thinking of when can I get to Bend in some sunshine? So,
Yeah.
I knew that I'm a mountain girl. I mean, you asked me what Boulder was like back then or whatever, or anyway. Boulder was like a real mountain town. It really was. I mean, I grew up in the canyon and Gold Hill, Nederland were my stomping grounds. So, anyway, um, I came. I lost my train of thought. I came back. You asked me how did I get back here? Well, it was Chief Niwot, the love of the mountains. My dad was still here. That was really important to me. And this desire to, so I, start this girls running camp that I really, really wanted to do. But I had to be in the place that formed me. I had to be in the mountains that formed me and have the inspiration of these peaks. And I look back on the early days of doing that camp and the things I did with those girls. Oh, it's crazy. Like we ran over Flat Top Mountain one direction in Rocky Mountain National Park and down to the other side of the divide and did these van rides back over the Trail Ridge Road and ran up the Peaks West 4th of July Trail up to the Continental Divide. And
How old were these girls?
high school.
Okay.
It was 13 to 18 years
awesome.
old.
That's some good running. It wasn't Valentine.
No.
No.
That's so good.
Yeah, so it was that desire and to start the girls running camp, to be back home. I think, I mean, I really am a homebody. I was a homebody, and that's a long story of how we didn't get to stay in the canyon, but it's still home, even though it's not my family's home anymore. So, yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so home now is?
I live in Lyons.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you like being in Lyons?
Oh, I love it. We lived in a condo in North Boulder when my son was little, like and when I woke up one day when he was 3 and I just said, I want him to be able to grow up feeling that power of the hills around him like I did and feel like he has places to roam. And so we made that move. We're really blessed to live out there and yeah, Bone Park, Picture Rock Trail, they're our backyard, and it's really incredible.
That's so good. And so you came back to Boulder County. You were in North Boulder, then Lyons. What are some of your favorite? You can't come back to Portman. We've talked about that. You just mentioned Picture Rock. What's a favorite? Where should people go? They're coming for a visit. They want to do a great hike. They want to do a great trail run, or they want to just do something maybe we do or maybe we don't know about it. What would that be for you?
Gosh, do or do not know about it. In Boulder County?
Anywhere, yeah, or close. I mean, we're happy to share mountains that are close,
Well, my where my soul just thirsts to be all the time is to park in 4 miles somewhere. It's not as I hate sorry, residents, but there used to be a little pullout right below Wall Street, Salina Junction.
Right.
And when I was training for marathons, I would park in that little pullout, run up Wall Street to Sunset, hang a right and go up the Switzerland Trail to Gold Hill Road, past Mount Alto picnic area, and then run through back to Gold Hill and down 4 mile back to my car. It's about 17 and a half miles. And I knew when I was fit, that when I got to Gold Hill Road, I could accelerate. Like if I could start
Sure.
like pushing it back to Gold Hill before I went the 5 miles back down, that I was really getting in shape. And that run is amazing. I love that so much. It's so peaceful. I think anywhere along the Switzerland Trail, just running Gold Hill Road, running. I mean, the Indian Peaks. The Indian Peaks were also just a place I went to rejuvenate my spirit and get in a great workout.
Beautiful. I love that. And folks, so rewind it back to that spot on the, what are we, in fact, on the count there for overall time? Because I want to go back and write that down. I know it pretty well, but I want to run that one when I get in a little bit better shape. I haven't run that far in a while, Melody. So, but viewers and listeners you haven't. Maybe we'll do it together.
Okay.
That'd be fun. We'll get in shape together. Bring Amanda along once she's done with having this old cold. Okay, so there's a few other things that I'll ask you about. Like this is just the fun stuff too. And I know Amanda has some other questions. But what's anywhere in this one has to be Boulder County? What's your favorite coffee shop? What's your favorite place to get a taco? And then what's your overall favorite restaurant? It could be the same as the taco place.
Oh boy. Okay, my favorite place to get a coffee. I love Ozo on Pearl.
Okay.
And I also love Moxie in Lyons.
Ooh,
that's an amazing
okay.
little spot. They used to be the Stone Cup.
Okay. Okay.
And my favorite place to get a taco. Oh, I feel a little out of the loop. I know there's a lot of good taco places.
You can skip that if you're not a taco person. Like if that's not top of your register, just favorite restaurant even if you want.
Well, the best meal I think I've ever eaten in my life is at Marigold in Lyons.
We just heard about marigolds.
It's incredible.
It's on our list. So we were at Farah a couple of weeks ago, which was quite delicious. If you've not been there, it's right.
I haven't been there.
Try it. But as we were going there, we said, as we left Lyons, we said, we got to go there. We have to try it. It was the best meal you've had. Really?
Yeah, it's quite amazing. There's things on the menu that I don't know. I don't know where they came from. I don't know how to pronounce them, but they taste really good. And that's a special night out, like a restaurant in Boulder. I really enjoy Hapa Sushi.
We do too.
It's just right on the mall, and it's very. I don't know. The people are great.
So good. That's spot on. They are. Amanda, I'm going to let you have a little second to come up with another question as I summarize Hapa. Check it out. It's sushi, Japanese. It's kind of a blend. Hapa, I think that means the blend of Japanese and Hawaiian culture, if I remember correctly. But they have awesome food. Magnolia. It was Magnolia, right? What's it called?
Oh,
No,
Marigold.
Marigold. I always do that. Marigold. I always do that. M's get me. I'm a bad summarizer. So Marigold in Lyons, and then Ozo, great choice. Moxie. There's a Moxie in Lyons. It's way cool vibe. And then there's one in North Boulder. There's one in Louisville, all over our county. So great stuff. And Amanda, what do you think? Is there something else that you wanted to share with Melody or ask from Melody before we thank her for her time and ask the hardest question we have?
The hardest question we have?
I mean, I will.
Well, you will. You can ask the hardest question. I don't know. What do you think that people should know before moving to Boulder?
I think that they should know that it is a very loved place. And some people I know who've come here to try it out say it's being loved to death. And they like to run trails, and they go to the trails, and there's so many cars they can't get a spot. And I just say, have some grace, have some patience, understand that everybody wants to love Boulder because it has a lot to offer, and we got to take care of it. We gotta appreciate what's here and why so many people want to be here. But we all want a little piece of that pie, and that wonderful pie that Boulder is, and just have to love everybody who's here and the place that they came to love. Yeah,
I love that. That's a great. You know what? That's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much, because that is a struggle or something that we all face, is how to share it, how to recognize it. I love that. That's beautiful. I'm going to share that with some friends that have been recently grumbling about. So thank you. That's awesome. The easy question is, where can our listeners and our viewers find more of you online, socials or websites or anything like that?
I have a website. It's melodyfairchild.com. And I'm actually working on a website right now for just the team.
Okay.
That's in progress. Yeah, Boulder Mountain Warriors information is there. I'm trying to keep up with other aspects of it. It's not my strong point.
Yeah, your
of the
Instagram is
website.
fun. Your Instagram's fun.
I do have Instagram. I was trying to do something every other day in January. It kind of fell off the wagon.
It's fun.
I have a Melody. I know it's a little bit of a social media faux pas, but I put Boulder Mountain Warrior stuff on my personal page because
You do too.
I need to transition to
No, keep it going. Because
Okay.
that's
Okay, cool.
we say go with it.
Okay.
It's all together. We want to know about you and about your club and all of it. So check it out, Boulder Mountain Warriors and Melody Fairchild Instagram. And then the last thought here, it's just going to be, it's a two-part. First off, do you love living in Boulder County? I think I know the answer to this, but also what's an ideal Sunday for you? Just an ideal weekend, Saturday or Sunday, you'll send off our listeners with that thought. How Melody, maybe you and Glenn, maybe you and Dakota, all of you have whatever. What's your best Saturday experience, Saturday or Sunday?
I do love living in Boulder County. I am constant. I never get tired of it. I'm never the fact that the visionaries for this town back in the 70s created the open spaces that we have. We're surrounded by nature, and we all need that. So we're all always rejuvenated and refreshed to be surrounded by green spaces. So that's amazing. An ideal Sunday or Saturday, it's waking up. We see a lot of bald eagles and great blue herons flying by and lions, and enjoying that with Glenn and Dakota, and going out and mountain biking on Picture Rock Trail, or taking a run around the ponds and looking at the beavers building their dam right now. And probably including getting together with a bunch of kids and going for a run.
That's
it's
awesome.
so good. That's
It sounds
perfect.
like a perfect Sunday.
I know. We'll be there. What time should we be there Saturday?
Come on out.
That's awesome. So good. So welcoming. This has been such a treat for me, and I know for our listeners as well. And again, on behalf of Amanda Lovato, we'd like to thank Melody Fairchild for joining us today. What a beautiful conversation, and we appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thanks, you guys. It's fun. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Melody.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'll be flying into practice with all the good vibes here.
Yes, we will. A couple hours here. And in the meantime, folks, we'll be back with great conversations here on Love Where You Live. In the meantime, we encourage you all to go out there and do something that you love.